Hey everyone, before we get to this week's Glass Seats episode where we talk about the Pacific Division preview, we are putting in this little insert here because we have some news to share. Mike Babcock, coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, is no longer the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets.
That was quick.
Didn't even make it to preseason, didn't even coach a single game behind the bench, not even a practice.
Nope.
So, Viddy, do you want to give us a quick summary on what happened to Mike Babcock?
Yeah, let's do it. So basically, we're recording this on Tuesday, September 19th. This happened a couple of days ago. So basically, Paul Bissonnette, host of Spin Chicklets, also a former NHL player. He's on the NHL and TNT panel. He gets a text from a current Columbus Blue Jackets player stating that Babcock is making players come into his office and airplay their phone camera roll to the office to see, in quotes, what type of person they are.
Keep in mind, this is like their first meeting with Babcock.
Yeah, like actual.
Like this is everyone's coming to Columbus. Training camp is about to start, and Babcock is meeting these players for the first time.
Yeah. So that already like set off alarm bells for Biz, and he called him out on the podcast. He called out Babcock on the podcast. The Blue Jackets organization responds, the PR team responds, puts out a statement with Boone Jenner, their captain, and Babcock's individual statements saying that it was nothing like that. It was blown out of proportion. It was a good chat. Keep in mind that, Boone Jenner is the captain and one of the older guys on the team. And so as a result of all this, Spin Chicklets and specifically Paul Bissonnette doubles down. Continues to call him out on Twitter. There's a lot of online traction, a lot of online negative publicity. So eventually the NHLPA Players Association investigates into the situation. And that's where we reach the conclusion that, Babs is departing this coaching job. They say it was on, a mutual parting of ways, but that's kind of what we wanted to talk about here, like the thoughts behind it and who was right, who was wrong. And based on this action, I mean, it sounds like Babs hasn't actually changed.
Yep.
And Toronto Babs.
And I think the key distinction here on when you're talking about who's wrong, who's right, we're not calling Boone Jenner a liar.
No.
Boone Jenner might have been fine with it.
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau, who also put out a statement saying that was okay. He asked about photos of my family. Might have been fine with it.
Yeah.
The problem arises because those players are veterans. Their spot in the NHL is secure.
And they have nothing to hide either.
I'm
For
assuming,
the most part.
yeah, based on their statements, I'm assuming they have nothing to hide because they were comfortable showing their phones. The problem, and they both, or Gaudreau said, if I was uncomfortable, I would have told Babcock, no, I'm not going to show you my phone. The problem is players who aren't veterans, like Gaudreau and Boone Jenner, would not be able to do that because Babcock is in a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this is your shot at the NHL, and if Babcock doesn't like you, you're not going to get that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you feel forced to comply with whatever he asks for, right? And this is where a player could be uncomfortable. Biz never said who the player was that alerted him, but this is where that could have started.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like from the PA's investigation that was the case, that there were players who were uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
And
rightfully so.
Yeah. And I said this on the episode where we talked about Babcock getting hired. I said it in our Metropolitan preview.
Yep.
If you have a lot of young players on your team, Babcock is not the coach for you.
Yeah. And I'm almost certain I said, oh, maybe he's changed. Clearly not. Clearly not.
And for those of you unfamiliar, you can go back and listen to those episodes. But the TLDR is when he was coaching in Toronto, he had similar mind games he pulled with Mitch Marner, who was a young star there, where he asked Mitch to rate or rank his teammates based on the most hardworking or something.
Yeah.
Said it would be private and then made it public, something like that.
Yeah, he disclosed it to the rest of the team, I believe. And as a rookie, that's horrifying.
So basically, Babcock has a history of abusing his power.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I think the biggest issue here is I don't think this was Babcock's chance to redeem himself, I guess you could say. And I think at this point, he's blacklisted himself further than Joel Quenneville has. It's obviously not to the extent of, covering up, an assault case. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad.
I think Babcock has just shown he's done coaching because he can no longer connect with this generation of players, right?
Yeah.
You've aged out, Babcock. That's what it is.
But there's coaches older than him that aren't doing this.
Yeah, but they adapted. Babcock clearly did not.
Fair enough. I did see a lot of comments saying like, "Oh, bring in Bruce Boudreau."
Yeah,
the players' coach or whatever.
One everybody loves.
Yeah.
Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah, and I was like, is that going to? I don't know if that's going to solve Columbus's problems. That's not even the point we're trying to make here. But
yeah, and for now, Columbus has named one of their assistants head coach.
Yes.
Vincent was his name.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what Columbus will do for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah, but in my opinion, this sounds like the permanent can for Mike Babcock. I don't see this man coming back. Great, legacy with Detroit winning the Stanley Cups. He did do a lot of work with Toronto and did terribly. But I don't see him coming back from this.
Yeah. I think it's just too risky to hire him. Right?
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to highlight about the story that I think is positive,
yes,
is the fact that the NHLPA did an investigation.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Quickly. Very quickly.
That's fantastic. And I say that because since when we've been following the sport, and we follow it pretty closely, can you remember any other time that the PA did something?
No. When I got here to record this whole segment we're doing right now, I was not even aware that they did an investigation. That's how I was surprised. I kind of just we talked about it over text and we were like, all right, I thought that was going to be the end of it just because that's how the NHLPA usually rolls.
Yeah. Has the PA done anything except negotiate during lockouts? That's the only thing I can remember.
Yeah.
And for people who were asking for progress from what happened with the Chicago Blackhawks, what happened with Babcock in Toronto, this is what it looks like.
This is progress.
And I understand it's disappointing that Babcock was hired at all.
Yeah.
Like, you ask anyone who pays attention to hockey, they could have told you this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt.
It would have been surprising if this didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah. But the fact that there are people making progress to make hockey a safer place for its players is, I think, great. Yeah. So I do want to say positive to the NHLPA for doing their job and getting in there, and for Paul Bissonnette bringing it to public's attention, using his platform for good.
And standing his ground, too. I mean, when you see, all the... Even we weren't sure what to make of it. When you see all these people saying, oh, you guys are frauds, you guys are spreading fake news, whatever. It's easy to be like, all right, whatever, I'm just not going to deal with this. He doubled down and ended up doing the right thing, And, that's... that is honestly good journalism. You want to be telling the truth. You want to be getting the actual story out there. And, props to that whole team for doing it. So, yeah, Babcock bites the dust, and it's going to be a new start in Columbus before the start even happened.
Yep. And we will get into all of that on this podcast. But for this week, enjoy our Pacific Division preview.
Yep.
Bye.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Glass Seats podcast. This is our show where two hockey aficionados discuss their perspectives on headlines surrounding the NHL, including recent stories, game highlights, league culture, and other topics trending amongst the fans. This is Viddy.
My name is Mrinal, and this is our last preview.
Yes, thank God.
Save the best for last.
Of course.
West Coast boys, we are doing the Pacific Division last, baby.
I don't know if I would say the best for last. In terms of state.
It's the best in my heart.
Okay, got it. All right. I was like, in terms of rankings, I wouldn't put this as the best, but...
I think Metro's got that on lock.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would say Pacific second.
Okay. All right. Let's just talk about it.
Let's talk about it. All right. We're doing season previews. How we do this, we're going to talk about each team. Each team is going to get a rank from each of us, either as a contender, meaning they're going to fight for the cup. Playoff team, they'll make the playoffs, maybe not win the cup. Mm-hmm. Fringe team, they may or may not make the playoffs. Lottery team, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be concerned about the draft lottery. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the episode, we will give our 1 to 8 prediction of the division. Mm-hmm. Shall we get started?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Starting in near Disneyland.
With the big bad Ducks.
The Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah. Not much. 7th in the lottery, or 7th in the division for me. Lottery team. Mm-hmm. They've had some good additions in terms of the draft. I think they did pick 2nd overall. Mm-hmm. I don't believe Carlson's playing this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But this is a team that's still in their rebuild, and that's totally fine. So
yeah, I think they were rebuilding last year. They're going to be rebuilding this year. They did get some nice veterans like Alex Killorn, Radko Gudas. Mm-hmm. But we'll see how long those guys stick around. But they have more than 1 year deals. So
Killorn's at least I think a 4-year, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I think you're starting to see the pieces come into place,
Yes.
right? Like you're going to expect Leo Carlson to come in maybe next season or the season after that, and then they'll have some veteran depth at that point. You know, Killorn, Gudas, they'll have some size. You know, Anaheim, as we know as Sharks fans in the 2010s and kind of the 2000s also, were this big hitting team, right?
Yeah.
The whole NHL was like that, but Anaheim was good at it. They'd grind you, they'd hit you. It was a physical game.
Yeah, there was one the season that San Jose won the President's Trophy. They went up against Anaheim, and Anaheim embarrassed them. Just size
first
difference.
round exit.
Yeah, first round. Not even 7 games. I think it was 6.
Yeah.
So just embarrassed them. Yeah.
Just on a long list of Sharks embarrassments,
but
we
don't need to talk about all that.
But anyway, I don't think they've lost that identity.
No.
Right? They're, you know, someone like Gudas that's a physical player.
Yeah, Anaheim is retaining the tough guy, you know, mentality.
Yeah.
And I love to see it, honestly.
Yeah. So nothing remarkable this season, but big things coming.
And I still think it's going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
So
the bigger question is what happens to John Gibson?
Yeah. Has he? I can't remember. Has he expressed any interest in staying or no?
I hear so many things about this. Like, I think he has requested a trade at some point, even last season, but he hasn't been traded. To be honest, I can't give you a definitive answer on what John Gibson's thinking because I've heard it go all ways.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
But if you're Anaheim, do you want Gibson?
Nah, you could probably flip him for some really good assets. Yeah.
Like, he hasn't been peak John Gibson in a while.
No, but your goalie is just way too good to be bottom of the lottery, bottom of the league even.
Yeah. But I mean,
go
even
get something for it.
Yeah, even with Gibson, they got the second overall pick, right?
That's true. That is true. But
and, weren't they last in the league last year? Yeah, they were.
Yes, they
32nd in the league.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know if for John Gibson's sake, I mean, maybe just trade him and see what you can get.
You could probably someone will take him as a backup.
Yeah.
John Gibson as your backup?
As a backup? I was thinking starter. But
yeah, like he's good enough to be a starter, which means definitely someone will get him for a backup, right?
Like just a stacked goalie tandem. Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Or, you know, if there's an injury and someone needs a goalie.
Yeah, which is inevitable at some point. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Anaheim should just play some fun hockey and, you know, just wait for this Gibson trade and keep on rebuilding.
Yep.
This is a team that, you know, if you want to go watch Trevor Zegras do his thing and Radko Gudas beat some guys up and
Troy Terry.
Yeah, Troy Terry.
They have a lot of exciting skill.
Yeah, and you just want a fun night out in Anaheim, go get some beer and watch some fun hockey. Maybe not winning hockey, but like it's still entertaining, I guess.
Go to Disney in the day, go to the Ducks at night.
Yeah, go to, I think the Angel Stadium or Golden Road Brewing is pretty close to it. So yeah just have some beer and watch some fun hockey. That's what this team is for this year.
Don't worry about the score.
Don't worry about the score. Just it's entertainment at this point. So yeah.
Lottery team, I have them 7th.
Yeah, I do too.
Moving on up to Canada, Calgary Flames.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you think about this because I have them 6th lottery team as well. I
have them 5th fringe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think this is a bit of a wild card team. Not wild card as in wild card playoff spots. Like wild card, like I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yes.
You know, they had a few losses, like Tyler Toffoli going out, but then Igor Sharangovich coming in instead. Milan Lucic going out, but, you know, he's kind of at the tail end of his career as well.
Yes.
The biggest thing with Calgary is that the GM and the coach have changed. And does that change the culture? Does that ignite Jonathan Huberdeau?
I was going to say, yeah.
Does that, you know, get Elias Lindholm to stay? What happens with Nazem Kadri? Like, if you look at their roster on paper, they underperformed last year.
Of course, absolutely.
Right? So if you get Huberdeau back, if you get Jacob Markstrom back as what you know they can be, this could easily be like a playoff team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say contender, but at least a playoff team. But, you know, if it's just a repeat of last year, then this is kind of nowhere.
Yeah, for me personally, the reason I kind of wrote them off, if you want to call it that, is they lost Tyler Toffoli. And sure, like I think Huberdeau would have some huge shoes to fill, just to like, you know, get this team. I think he would have to almost drag this team to the playoffs. And at what cost? It's not. They're not. This is a team that's not doing damage in the playoffs.
I wouldn't put it that far. There's other players. There's Elias Lindholm, Nazem Kadri, Michael Backlund.
I don't know. Do you think they're going to thrive with a new coach? Because I do remember seeing a lot of reports last year where they were like, screw Daryl Sutter.
Yeah, they were just not happy with the coach.
We hate this guy and we're not staying here if he is like. So maybe that was the biggest issue. I just don't know. I don't know. I have a hard time believing this is a team that's going to do some serious damage.
Yeah,
honestly.
So with all the uncertainty, I just slapped him in the middle of the division.
Okay.
Calgary Flames 5th, fringe.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. A lot of it's hard to play out, but I think this is also a team that's still somewhat reeling from the Tkachuk trade that just not destroyed them. They underperformed last year for sure, but like
if
they're still feeling the effects.
If Huberdeau put up his usual close to 100 points, it would have been tight between him and Tkachuk.
Yeah, that might be Huberdeau might be the X factor of this team. Yeah, let's just put it that way. He has his support too, but a lot of this is riding on Huberdeau. So we'll see. But that being said, I don't see this team necessarily making damage in the playoffs. So.
Sorry, I don't know if you mentioned what ranking did you put them in?
Oh, I put them as 6th.
And
lottery.
Ooh,
Yeah,
all the way in the lottery.
Yeah, wow. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I think we have some pretty different Pacific Division lineups
and I think
time.
Personally, this is the division we watch the most, just being on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I think we have a lot of big opinions on this division.
Yeah.
All right,
let's keep it in Canada.
Edmonton.
Mm-hmm. This is a team that's, in my opinion, for sure making the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The question is, are they cup contender or not?
I don't want to say yes yet. I'm going to say no. I think this is a playoff team. I just don't know if it's a cup contender team because I don't know. It still feels like they're just going all in on McDrysaddle.
Wouldn't you?
How long is that duo supposed to carry this team? Clearly, it didn't work against Vegas.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
But that's just 1 year.
So you think it's just magically going to happen some year?
Yeah. No, this is hockey. Hockey shit happens in hockey.
I think they're just going to keep getting shut down year after year until they get some help.
I mean, they brought in some new wingers, Connor Brown and Drake Caggiula. They did lose Klim Kostin and Kyler Yamamoto. They're basically shuffling the deck around McDrysaddle. Mm-hmm. But I will point, if we roll the time back about 10 to 15 years ago, I will point to you, another team that had 2 top 5 centers. Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay, yeah. That was what I was thinking immediately. I was like, he's going to say something about Crosby Malkin, but like, is it the same though? Because the thing is, we've seen in the past couple of years once, San Jose or Burns had that breakout season, right? Yeah. Norris, and then they found out how to shut him down and he was just no longer the same until I guess he went to Carolina and then did some damage again. They figured out Burns. McDavid has been constantly the number one target in terms, not like physical target, but like in terms of the playoffs, they're like shut him down.
Yeah, of course.
But who's to say they're not just going to keep targeting those two? The thing is,
they're not really succeeding in shutting him down. He had 153 points last year.
In the regular season. I'm talking about the playoffs. This is a team that's making the playoffs for sure.
Wasn't he like the leading scorer in the playoffs for a long time?
And where did that get them?
Okay, but what I'm saying is you cannot put this on Draisaitl and McDavid.
I'm not. I'm just saying this is a team that's not going. This is a team that's making the playoffs. I just don't have them as a cup contender because they don't have enough
I think depth. Their fatal flaw was goaltending in Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell. Mm-hmm. I expect both of them to be better this year in the playoffs.
Okay.
Because Jack Campbell has been streaky. We've known that.
Yeah.
So he's the backup. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Stuart Skinner, I think this was his first real playoff run, right? And he's young. I expect with time that he will get better and experience will get better. He went through it once.
Yeah.
Every team has their, cross to bear. Not cross to bear. They go through their trials.
Yeah.
Right? Even Crosby and Malkin went through it. I expect him to be better.
Yeah.
And if he is better and he puts up even just average goaltending, this is a whole different team.
Really?
Oh, I think so. I think they push Vegas to 7, and then who knows? Did it go to 7 last time?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was in 6.
6, right? Yeah. But I think they push Vegas a lot more than they did this year. Mm-hmm. And, McDavid and Draisaitl, he gets better every year. Mm-hmm. They're in their primes right now.
Yes.
I have this is a contender, and I have them 3rd in the division. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you can discount this team that easy.
I have them still third in the division, but the reason I have them as a playoff team, again, by no means am I saying this is McDavid or Draisaitl's fault. They are practically carrying this team, and
they should. They're paid to do that.
Yes, but that is my issue with it. A Stanley Cup winning team has depth, and I don't think this team has enough of that yet.
Are you kidding me? They have depth.
Yeah,
this is an old take on the Oilers of 3 years ago.
I don't know. I still think it's still the same team, more or less.
They have
until they make it to the West Finals. I have a hard time believing they're
Zach Hyman, Evander Kane. These are all what they're considering depth because it's depth behind McDavid and Draisaitl.
Right, but where was it in the playoffs?
It was there. It was goaltending. That was the problem in the playoffs. Okay. And I think goaltending will be better this year.
Okay. So why you just think it's one of those trials and tribulations things?
Yes. And because of the age of the goaltender and what we've seen them do in the regular season, they have that game in them.
Yeah.
And I think, they probably should have switched from Skinner to Campbell earlier than they did.
Okay.
These are mistakes your teams will learn from. Mm-hmm. And if you look at what they added and subtracted, it's basically just shuffling out some wingers, right? Mm-hmm. Like they are still the same team.
Yeah.
And they were my cup pick last year. Mm-hmm. So there's no way I'm dropping them out of contender this year.
Okay. Fair enough. I think this is just one of those teams we can agree to disagree. But I have them same position, third. But until they go far in the playoffs, like at least third round, I'll believe when I see it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I just think there's too much riding on McDavid and Draisaitl, and those are two players on the roster that you can shut down. So
no,
we'll see how this playoffs goes. But this is a team for sure making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Let's see everything else. Let's see after that. So,
all right, coming back to California.
Yes,
Los Angeles Kings.
Yes, playoffs for sure. I have them actually not with the additions of this offseason. I have them second this time in the division.
Same. I have them second in the division. I could see them swapping with Edmonton.
Yeah,
but I have them as a contender.
Yeah, I think I put them as a playoffs, but easily this could, playoff / contender. Yeah.
And just look at that center depth. Mm-hmm. Anze Kopitar.
Still top scorer.
Still top scorer for last year.
And he's in his 30s, so
yeah,
good for him.
Philip Deneau, who is like the shutdown guy.
Yeah.
And possible Selke candidate now that Bergeron's retired.
True.
And they just added Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah,
crazy. That is a killer center line.
Crazy, yeah.
And any one of those three you can move to wing if you want to stack your top six.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, they have Kevin Fiala, Victor Arvidsson. They did lose Alex Iafallo and Gabe Velarde, which I think will kind of hurt a little bit.
But they got Pierre-Luc Dubois.
But yeah, Pierre-Luc Dubois.
I'm taking that trade.
Yeah. And they brought back Trevor Lewis for some depth.
Yeah.
So I think this is a team that's better than last year.
Yes, I agree.
And they were a solid playoff team last year. They fought Edmonton. That was a fun series to watch.
Yeah.
So I think they've taken a step, and I think I put them in contender. So
Yeah.
I think the one thing that's questionable is their goaltending, where they have a tandem of Phoenix Copley and Cam Talbot. But we've seen tandem goalies do it before, and I believe in this team's systems. When I watch them play, they're a lot of fun to watch, and they're very structured. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good enough goalie tandem to get them into the conversation of being a cup contender.
Do they have enough assets to their name where they could maybe possibly trade for Gibson? Would that put them over the edge? Put them over the edge in a good way.
I won't. I'm going to say no, just on the fact that that's Anaheim trading with LA, a star player.
Within the division?
Not even just within the division. That's like, you could walk there. I'm exaggerating, but yeah. It's like compared to anywhere else, right? Like, why would you send such a star player, right? Like, depth is one thing, if it helps both teams, but a star like Gibson,
okay, that's true. That is true. Yeah, that's not a maybe smart decision long term.
It'd have to be like, how Martin Jones went from LA to San Jose through Boston. Yeah, you have to be something like that. Okay.
So LA would have to get a third. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Can you imagine if this team just somehow got Hellebuck at the trade deadline?
Oh
my God.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to get a goalie, right? They have to get a goalie.
Yeah.
So, or I don't say they have to, but if they're going to get something, it's going to be a goalie, right?
Yeah. This is a team that can easily go over the edge in terms, this is I don't want to say go as far to say this is a Tampa level team, But if all the things fall in their favor, it could be. It could be for sure.
Yeah. And even if they don't do it this year, they could do it next year.
Yeah, this is not, their window isn't, I'd say the window's opening. Yeah, the window's reopening. They had a pretty decent rebuild.
Kopitar and Doughty are going to get older, but Kopitar can slide over on wing. Doughty might be questionable, but he's still playing really well.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not like he's bad anymore.
So I am high on the LA Kings. I'm second in the division contender.
Yeah. I have second as well, playoff / contender. Yeah.
All right. Last California team, the San Jose Sharks, our hometown team.
Dumpster fire. I have them last in the division.
They're not relevant.
Yeah, I have them them and Arizona will fight for. I mean, San Jose will have a home at least, but they will fight for just one of the worst teams in the league. Honestly,
and this was a team that last year was 29th in the whole league out of 32
because Erik Karlsson
and that was with Erik Karlsson putting up 100-something points.
Yeah, they don't have him now.
And Timo Meier putting up 30-something goals.
Yeah,
both of those players are gone.
Yeah, this is a team that I have them 32nd in the league.
This is a season-long training camp.
Yes. Yeah. So I would like to say, though, we did mention a couple seasons or a couple episodes ago where there's players on this team that have something to prove, contracts or bridge deals, whatever. Yeah. So they're going to be playing for something. And while this is, like you said, season-long training camp, I think this is the start of a new look San Jose Sharks. And this is, again, where we talk about building culture and stuff. It's going to start this season.
Yeah. So what I want to see from San Jose this year, I want to see, even ice time. Just put 4 lines out and roll them. Because the game doesn't matter.
Yeah. This is a lottery team. This is the last team in the league for sure. Yeah.
I want to see different line combinations. Give players a fair chance, right? If you're going to bring in prospects and, Eklund and then just stick them on the 4th line and not give them a chance to play with someone like Couture or Hurdle. That's not really helping, right?
Yeah.
Put him up there for 10 games.
Yeah.
See what he does. You want to know what you have so you can make the right moves in the offseason.
Yeah, experiment. You remember when I can't remember what year it was, but when Insanity happened in the New York Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if that happens here? What if all of a sudden, Bordelow's good to go or Eklund's good to go? Mm-hmm. Just try shit, basically.
Yeah. And you want to try them in different situations, right? Yeah. Is Eklund a penalty killer in the NHL? Is Eklund a power play specialist?
Will he step up, be the tough guy if one of his, teammates is getting ragged around, whatever?
Yeah, he's kind of tiny, so I doubt that, but
you never know. Yeah. You never know. Tyler Johnson did it.
True. True.
Yeah.
We're not expecting Will Smith to play this year. Yeah. I think Will Smith committed to playing in college this year. So he'll be coming in next year, but basically you want to see tryouts and who's going to stay. Philip Zadina is trying to find a place to stay. Maybe it's San Jose.
Yeah.
Some of these other players are clearly, if they're good, we'll ship them at the deadline. Like Mike Hoffman. Yeah. I don't expect Hoffman to be here long term.
No, I don't either.
Kevin LeBanc is finally on his last year of his deal.
I think he's out after this too.
Yeah, that was a mistake of a contract.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these were, but I think in terms of Sharks fans, I think we're waiting for the Vlasic contract to expire, and that will truly be the end of the old look Sharks. But I think this is the inception of the new look.
Yeah. So Vlasic has 3 years left.
Yes.
So if Eklund and Bordelot play this year, which they're projected to, they will be done with their entry level contracts the same time Vlasic comes off the books.
Perfect.
So they've timed it perfectly.
Yeah.
I think they're in a good position to be good in about 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm. But in that time, it's basically like Anaheim. Go to the SAP Center, have some beer, watch some entertaining hockey.
Yeah,
win or lose, don't go for the score. Just have fun.
Yeah, go and see what Eklund's up to.
Yeah, just go watch hockey. This is a team that's not doing anything, and they have nothing to lose, and that's why you should go watch them.
Yeah, basically.
So,
it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And I like you said, I hope they build the culture. I hope that you start seeing some future leaders. Couture's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to see this year.
One last question as biased Sharks fans. Do you feel relieved now that Karlsson's gone? Because I kind of do.
I wouldn't say relieved. I would say I'm glad that they did it and didn't wait for this season.
Yeah, that's what I'm relieved about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm relieved about. I was like, can you imagine if he put up that monster season and then he just wasn't good anymore? We got nothing for it.
Yeah, or, got an ankle sprain or something.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? That would have just been that would have pushed me over the edge. But I would have not been happy with it. And I'm kind of glad they got rid of that. And I feel like the boys can play. Just play. Just experiment. Just have fun. So,
Yeah, and I think goalie is still kind of a question. Like, is Kaapo Kakkonen the real thing, or who's going to play goal?
Yeah, we'll find out.
A lot of questions in San Jose, but I think we'll have fun finding the answers.
Yes.
8th in the division, lottery team.
Yep.
Moving on to Seattle.
Mm-hmm. This is so it's interesting because I have them 4th, middle of the pack, but at the same time, I almost have them like for sure playoffs. I don't even want to put them as a fringe team.
I'm exactly the same. 4th team playoffs.
Yeah, and I would say they surprised some people last year. They surprised us, certainly. We thought they were getting curb stomped, and they beat the reigning Cup champs.
Yeah, that was wild.
And didn't they take Dallas to 7?
I did longer than I expected them to.
Yeah. So I was like, what the heck? This is a team that with some fight to them. Sure, they lost. Morgan Geekie, I think, was a big loss.
Yeah. Donskoy.
Yeah, Donskoy. Yeah, I believe he retired. But I don't know. They also have like they brought in Pierre. Sorry, what's his name? Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. They bought in Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and I think that's a good, at least in Tampa and Colorado. He was a big veteran presence, and like with guys like Beniers and I don't know. I think it's a good look. It's a good good addition, at least in terms of depth.
Yeah,
I am not too sure what the biggest weakness is, to be totally honest.
It's goaltending. It's still Philip Grubauer.
You're right. Philip Grubauer, you're right. It's because it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're getting. So.
And they have a prospect, Joey Decord, who is projected to play, at least from cap friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what he's like. I think the bigger question for Seattle is, does Shane Wright make the team?
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Yeah. I don't know if you were following that story that he is now AHL eligible.
Yeah.
So at least he'll be in the A this year.
Yeah.
So they could potentially move him up and down.
He's a two-way right now, right?
Yeah. For now, yeah. So they could potentially move him up and down from the A.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Seattle, I think they have a pretty decent core, and I believe they just they extended Ron Francis, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think they are pretty much kind of locking in their core, and they got a good core. Jared McCann, Vince Dunn, Eberle, Beniers, Gord. This is a good team. This is a balanced team, yeah.
There's a good core in this team, but they don't have quite the contender edge of like Edmonton, LA, or Vegas yet, I think.
Yeah.
So, playoff team, but
fun team to watch, I think. Yeah, fun team to watch. I was like, this is a division rival, and I'm like, dang, I'm kind of like rooting for them.
Yeah, well, that's because we're not relevant right now.
True. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, fun team to watch for sure, playoffs, and let's see if they surprise us again.
All right, let's finish out with the last Canadian team, Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, this is
an enigma.
Yeah, basically. I have them. I have them as a lottery team, 5th in the division. And honestly, I'm trying to wrap my head around what the plan is here. I couldn't tell you what it is.
I mean, up till now, they thought they were good.
Yeah,
but they weren't.
And then there's all these trade rumors surrounding JT Miller for what feels like 2 seasons now. Brock Besser's trade rumors. I don't know.
And meanwhile, Elias Pettersson's putting up 100 points.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell you what the plan is here. This feels almost like Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I put them as a fringe team just because on paper they should be good.
Yeah.
Like if Thatcher Demko has a decent season and, you get the usual amount of contribution from everywhere else, Quinn Hughes gets a little bit better, Elias Pettersson puts up his points, I can see this team fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. So the thing is, you say it's a good team on paper, and I felt that way about them before even the Bo Horvat trade. I was like, why is this team not better than they should be? You know what I mean? I was like, the same way we just listed off those depth players in Seattle, having a balanced core. I was like, I felt like that way about this team earlier, but they just didn't get it together.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the problem was.
I think everyone's looking at Vancouver and just scratching their heads.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
I'm like, why is this not working? Yeah. That's kind of what I don't really have anything to add to this because I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like,
yeah. They extended Niels Hoglander, which is cool. He was a good player.
Yeah.
They finally got out from Ekman Larson.
Yeah. That was not a good contract for them. No.
Yeah. So I see some moves here to kind of settle the boat, it feels like. But what they're actually going to do, who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, are they trying to trend upwards, or are they trying to just go downwards a little bit, get better.
I feel like they haven't done either.
That's
so
exactly.
I have to leave them as a fringe team and somewhere in the middle. I have them 6th.
I have them 5th lottery just because I'm going based on historical past. I'm just gonna guess it's a lottery team. So
Vancouver, make up your mind.
Yeah. Minnesota too. You guys do that too.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, we've been through all other 31 teams.
Yeah.
And finally, we have your reigning champion.
Yeah.
The Vegas Golden Knights.
Absolutely. Cup contender. First in division.
Yeah. They'd really, even with the losses they had, I still expect them to be good.
I expect them to run it back. I think this is a team that's going for a repeat.
Yeah.
So if I had to make a really way too early prediction, they're going for cup number 2 this year.
Oh, okay.
So I was, I have nothing to add. We've already talked about their system, how you should rent and not buy in Vegas, and any player that somehow puts on the gold helmet just suddenly turns into God. So,
and they've changed. I think they've changed the landscape of the NHL. Right?
Yeah.
If someone good shows up, they'll get them.
Yeah.
Like you had Aiden Hill who went on this massive run and was really well in the playoffs.
Couldn't stop a beach ball in San Jose though.
Yeah.
So
whatever.
Go figure.
But what I was saying, Aiden Hill, let's say he has another great season.
Yeah.
Do you think Vegas would hesitate if Connor Hellebuyck is really available?
No, they'll just swap him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be like, here's Hill.
Thanks for winning us this cup. Bye.
Yeah. There's no loyalty in Vegas. And Riley Smith is gone, and he just won the cup with them, and I think he was there since the inception draft.
Yeah, he's an original misfit.
Yeah, and they were just like, thanks for helping us win the cup. Bye.
Yeah.
Shipped him out.
I mean, I think also with the cap, there were some issues there. But
of course, yes. But there's no such thing as loyalty in Vegas, and in a strangely weird, wicked way, that is why they keep winning, and that's why I think they'll win again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a team that's the only analysis. It doesn't matter who's playing for what. If you don't matter to the cup goal, you're getting sent out. Mm-hmm. If you're a Vegas fan, maybe just buy a jersey with your last name on it.
Yeah,
on the back.
I mean, I feel like you could buy some of their OG team and you would still be.
Yeah, Fleury, I guess.
Yeah,
is fine.
that one's a Fleury jersey.
True, yeah.
And I think that's fine.
Yeah, Fleury's fine. Stone is probably fine.
They also just won a cup. Anyone from that team you can have in their jersey.
Fine. Yeah. Just Marchessault is probably fine. Yeah, whatever. Point is, this is a team that just somehow just going to blow everyone out the water because they have a winning strategy. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about it on a previous episode. You can go listen to that if you would like. First in division cup contender, and I think they're going to run it back.
Yeah, same. First in division cup contender. There's still questions on if Robin Lehner is going to be healthy enough to play this year, but I don't think they're worried.
Yeah, at this point, this is a team where it's like, that really good employee where you're like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to figure it out and just way over deliver. And yeah. And this is someone who absolutely hates Vegas as a very biased Sharks fan. This is a team that has their shit figured out. They're going to run it back, I think. They've
found a strategy to win.
Yeah.
And until someone breaks it, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Or they break themselves, which it almost seems. Do you feel like they've bulletproofed their strategy?
Not really, because it relies on the flexibility to be able to move these players and having the money to do so, right?
Yeah.
So, if something stops that flexibility, right? Like
what would, though?
Like players having no movement clauses or not signing in Vegas unless they get a no movement clause or something like that.
I don't think they would give that player, though. They'd just be like, okay, you can go sign somewhere else.
So, but then, I'm just making this off the top of my head, but then what if the quality of the players you can get drops because good quality players won't come to you without a no movement clause, something like that.
Oh,
or the CBA changes where it restricts how their trading happens. I'm take the parallel of Formula One, where you have a set of rules to build the cars, and then every few years those rules change.
Yeah.
And teams move up and down because they can't adapt to the new rules, right?
Got it.
But that's what I think what it would take to stop Vegas' strategy at this point.
Yeah.
Some rule changing.
Got it. Okay.
It's not like I expect them to just fall off a cliff sometime, because if you're a player falling off a cliff, they ship you out.
Yeah.
They find a way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem like no movement clauses is really even a thing in Vegas. So,
and I remember the thing when Vegas first started was a concern was like, oh, are the Raiders going to come and take all their fans?
Yeah,
but now that
the Raiders aren't even good. Yeah,
the Raiders aren't even good. The Knights just won a championship.
Yeah, Vegas is quickly establish themselves as a hockey town.
Yeah.
The way Tampa has as well.
Yeah. And I the A's are coming in soon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't think, also baseball and hockey seasons don't overlap that much.
No,
so I don't think it'll matter.
Yeah.
But
very random tangent, but like, damn, going to an A's game outdoors in 120-degree summer heat.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, Arizona manages it somehow.
That's true, yeah.
I think they have a covered stadium, though.
They might, or they have misters all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, digress. But yeah, this is a team that's just, until they fall and fail, I don't believe they will.
Yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
It's like the anti-Toronto.
Basically, yeah. Oh, come on, man.
I had to get a Leaf shot in there.
Jesus. All right. What's your 1 through 8 for this division?
Yeah. So Vegas first as a contender. Los Angeles second, also a contender. Edmonton third as a contender. Seattle fourth, playoff team. Calgary fifth, Vancouver sixth, both fringe teams, and then Anaheim seventh, San Jose eighth, both lottery teams.
Got it. Okay, yeah, mine's very similar. Versus Vegas Cup contender, LA is second playoff / contender, third Edmonton playoffs, 4 Seattle playoffs, 5 Vancouver lottery just because, like I said, historical past, 6 Calgary lottery, 7 Anaheim lottery, and 8 San Jose lottery.
All right. So after all that debating, it's pretty similar. I think all we debate on is if Edmonton's good or not.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, that was one we disagreed on. But
I guess we will see.
Yeah.
This is our last season preview.
Yeah.
So
before we sign off, actually, in terms of now that we've talked about all 4 divisions, overall strongest, overall weakest, what are your thoughts?
I think strongest division is the Metro.
Yeah.
And I have Carolina coming out of the East overall from the Metro. I think the weakest division is the Central.
Yeah.
And actually, I should say from the West, I think it's going to be Vegas coming out from the West. But way too early Cup prediction for me is Carolina.
Okay. We have some shockingly similar views. So I think Pacific is the weakest division, and Metro strongest division overall. Vegas, I think, coming out of the West, and I think, again, Carolina, coming out of the East. But I have Vegas winning.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Gonna be spicy.
Way too early, but yeah, let's see.
And we're both gonna get clowned on when the Rangers win the Cup.
Or Minnesota just tells us to fuck off. And,
here's
the cup you guys wanted.
Yeah. Are we done here?
Yeah. Leave us alone. God. Anyways.
All right.
Yeah, it's time to sign off.
Yeah. This was our last preview. If you enjoyed this one, you can check out our previews for the other 3 divisions. By the time this comes out, we will be 1 day away from the preseason starting on the Saturday. Next episode, we'll have hockey to talk about, and we'll catch up on some storylines that maybe we missed while doing these previews. So keep it tuned here to Glass Seats. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, and Google. We are also on YouTube and Instagram at Spud Network Podcast is the handle. You can check out this show, and you can check out all of our other shows there. This is it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Peace.